Recently, we've seen a slew of losing candidates either wait or completely refuse to concede their elections. It's happened even when they lost by a lot.
If the people who did this and cheated are watching, I do not concede.
Candace Taylor only won 3.4% of the vote while running for the GOP gubernatorial nomination in Georgia. So what happened, and what's the significance of conceding an election? I asked an expert, James McCann, a political science professor at Purdue University. He says the tradition dates back to our early days of democracy and George Washington.
Now, he did not lose an election. He decided not to run after his second term. But the fact that he was so readily able to let go in a sense of public spiritedness really set the tone for concessions.
Concessions would become not a law, but a tradition. There are a few reasons for that, McCann explains. First, it's beneficial to the candidates, considering most of them will lose.
From the standpoint of the office seeker, if this is not your year, it makes sense to try another venue.
For example, if you lose a congressional race, maybe you move on to a state race and break in that way.
Also, you can score points, by being very gracious in your concession, because concessions help build democratic legitimacy.
A winner's legitimacy is, of course, questioned when the other candidate does not acknowledge their loss. We saw President Joe Biden's legitimacy suffer among much of the population, while former President Trump rejected the results of the race.
President Trump, by not conceding and actually undermining the entire electoral process, has done some damage to that norm.
The norm of conceding elections supports the political system by distinguishing between the campaign and governing periods. When the winner makes it to the governing period, they need to create policy.
Laws depend on legitimacy. Policies depend on legitimacy, otherwise they won't be followed. And so a concession by the losing candidate and the losing party, that can help foster legitimacy.
With that being said, only time will tell what candidates will do in the upcoming midterms, and whether they'll legitimize the candidates who win our elections.